Mommy, they have a party today.
Okay, hold on. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Quite a messy, interesting start. Camera issues and all that. But anyway, hi, I hope you're well. Greetings to everybody tuning in. Whenever it is that you're tuning in, how are you feeling? How are these energies? Really exciting times. I feel very excited for the collective in this moment because this transit that we're in the middle of, the Neptune in Aries, and just the general vibe. There's a lot of excuse me, a lot of incredible potential in the air right now. Lots of unknowns that at their root mean something very exciting because of how much there is to work with, how much there is to do for us. I do know on some level, though, that there can be a lot of exhaustion felt because of the changes, the realizations, the fights that we've been trying to activate in, like, letting go of the old and making space for the new. The image of like needing to shed the old and needing to like take out every single tiny little tentacle that's rooted inside of us that has to do with the old is very exhausting work. It is. So while I feel excited, I do feel really tired. It reminds me that we need to keep hydrated and on top of things via our spiritual work. I've picked up meditation and I've started doing it every morning, which is really, it's been so helpful. I'm sitting in a reality where I don't understand why it wasn't something that I was doing regularly before. And I'm trying to incorporate it into my life as much as possible because I can feel that I'm really going to need that stability. Lots of things are changing. Lots of different views and different opinions, different realities that I thought were going one way, perceptions of people that I thought were this kind of person, but actually aren't, perceptions of my own self. I'm coming to the realization of my sense of self and how little energy I've been pouring into myself. Needing to like gain full, gather my consciousness and my awareness up because it feels like it's just been spilling everywhere into other people. Albeit these are people that I love, it's still into other people when it's supposed to be into me, because these other people that I've been pouring energy into, they have their own energy, right? They're sovereign on their own. I don't need to be so. It's like there was a clinginess that was just totally unnecessary, and that clinginess. Hey, my love, how are you doing? That clinginess that I was pouring into other people just wasn't. It was so unnecessary, and it was very confusing when I kind of awakened into how little awareness I was placing on my own self and my own life. And I came to realize that that's exactly why I'm at where I'm at, because I just haven't been paying enough attention to myself. I've been well wishing and praying for other people outside of myself, barely praying for my own self. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm pretty sure that everybody tuning in understands the general energy of sovereignty and self-focus, self-prioritization, authenticity, all of the things that are coming into our visions and intentions right now. And how that kind of reroute, it's obviously going to change our realities. It's obviously going to change how people connect to us. It's going to change family dynamics, friendship dynamics, relationships. I think that's part of the Venus retrograde situation that we're facing right now. Exactly, self-preservation. There's just been like there's been too much outside action going on and not enough as Nandez mentioned, not enough self-preservation and inside action, which I think ties into how necessary it's been for us to focus on our spiritual work, um, specifically in connection to like our own spirits, not just spirit and God, but our own souls and our own lights and our own truths. So as per the title, sovereignty, 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 it's so important to focus on yourself right now. And it may come across as selfish, especially when you're, an ex-people pleaser, or you're trying to heal from that. You're trying to heal from being over empathic. It's gonna be a really awkward phase. This transition. We're definitely facing a new phase right now. I feel like everybody understands it, even if they don't believe in tarot, astrology, whatever. We're all feeling this newness, and it's gonna be awkward because of how we have to reroute, call our energy back. Like I said, pull the tentacles out, send energy back to where it belongs, call our energy back from where it was. I've been speaking about this obviously over the past few weeks, but it feels like, I mean, honestly, every new week that arrives feels like a buildup of something new. Like we're every week, every transit, it's like a new level of sovereignty. And yeah, as I've been repeating over the past few weeks, unlike anything we've seen before. Sovereignty, unlike anything we recognize, unlike anything we know. And I actually, before coming on here, was watching a video that spoke about how awkward it will be to manifest a reality. So what the content creator was saying, and I've forgotten their names, I've forgotten their pronouns, but I will post about it on my Instagram stories. They mentioned that because we're all trying to create a new reality away from the usual, away from capitalism, white supremacy, you're going to look crazy as you're trying to manifest this new reality. And I think looking crazy, that's the awkwardness, because what I'm feeling now is we're going to start being a little bit unrecognizable to people who we're used to being recognizable by. Like I said, it's going to change a lot of dynamics, and I hope that we can be gentle with ourselves through these changes and gentle with the people, with our community. Um, I attended as well a masterclass on honest dialogue, which really brought to the front, it highlighted the importance of compassionate communication. And like I said, it's highly likely I'm reading for people who are empathic, ex people pleasers. While we're healing from that habit and we're healing from this business of being over empathic and thinking for other people, that skill that we are very good at is still going to need to be retained as we move into this paradigm of selfishness and self-preservation and self. We still do need to hold the other in mind, because we're building communities. We're building our new world, and we need each other still. So we have to retain what we learned about connection and our ability to be empathic. We're just cutting it down slightly, but we're not being selfish completely. It's a dance, but we'll figure it out. And I think at the end of the day, it's really just about discernment and trusting yourself. So boundaries need to be so deeply rooted in our ability to separate pleasing ourselves and pleasing others. The line is becoming thinner, so awareness needs to heighten. Exactly. And that, like I've been repeating, ties into us needing to get into our spiritual work and take it very seriously. Meditate a lot, or as often as you can, and ground and pray and all of that. But I think meditation is like becoming a lot more important. I know I underestimated it because of how it really it requires it requires a kind of slowing down that this world is not really accommodating for right now, because everything's moving so fast and processes are moving so fast and manifestations are moving so fast, emotions and feelings are moving so fast. So meditation is hard. I think we're very lucky though. I trust that anyone tuning into my work is pretty familiar with meditation and breath work and all of that. And I think we're very, very, very lucky. And as I tweeted about, we are a lot smarter, a lot more wiser, and like it's a huge deal. The things that we know, the things that we're able to do, the things that we have like already incorporated into our daily habits, it's a huge deal. There are people that have no idea like how to tune in to their center. There are people who don't even understand what that means. And we're so accustomed to it that we're like building layers of our center, and we're covering more layers of our center. Like it's incredible the level of awareness that we're at. So as well, while we're moving towards this future, doing more work, more and more work, we mustn't forget to like give ourselves daps. Although I'm promising you that's something that I forget to do. So I don't know how I'm gonna make that a reality for myself, but I really hope that it's a reality for you to remember how incredible you are and how incredible the work is that you're doing, how smart you are, how aware you are, present you are. This is your aura is already so potent and powerful and bright, and it's only going to get better. It's only up from here. And shout out. So the notes that I have here, I mean, I actually think that I've pretty much tied it all together. I think I've mentioned everything. I'm sure we're all tapping into the energy of sovereignty, as I've said, as I put in the title, the importance of being your own healer. Excuse me. Of being your own healer, being your own spiritual leader. Even as I'm here doing this intuitive channeling, know that in your life, for you, there is no one more powerful or more equipped with the exact answers you need than you. I don't stand in the way. I don't stand in front of you. I can't even say that I'm an adequate channel for your truth, so to speak. I mean, I wonder. I'm not sure what, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what healers and tarot readers and etc. I'm still trying to figure out what we call ourselves, especially in this time when we're all supposed to be doing that for our own selves. I'm seeing the image though of us taking a flashlight and shining it on your own truth, on your own light, or like a candle, us having a candle, and I don't know, maybe like there's ice around your truth, and we take whatever our healing gifts are and we put a light or a candle or a fire by the ice that's around so that those layers can melt and you can be your own healer. Your truth can shine beyond the layers. But I can't stress enough. And I still feel through it all that what matters most is that you are your most important healer. You are your most important source of truth. There is no one alive, no one in the world can channel your own truth like you can. So, I mean, it's part of why I'm not applying any pressure about what I'm doing here. I think that the less people tuning in to tarot readers and healers like us, the much, much better. So that we can all just connect based on our own individual truths and not based on the fact that we think that some other person has answers for us and guidance better than we have for ourselves. we're heading further and further into this reality. So I'm actually curious to know how these kinds of things will change and how we can connect as a community. If, like, what kind of truth and authenticity are we going to be connecting from? Pray for yourself more. Pray. I mean, I was raised on the the thought that when you pray for others, you get 10 times back. You know, the whole thing of when you give light to others, that light returns to you. Start giving light strictly to yourself. And only when you feel like you have enough, or when you feel called, only when you feel like it, like make it a really chill thing to pray for other people, to be of service to other people. I think that we need to, as Nandi mentioned, actually, we need to start drawing more boundaries on what we offer other people and how we show up for other people. We need to really, we need to take our selfishness to just turn it up a little bit, just a tiny bit, a balance. But I think that's what's going to guarantee our energetic health, because it feels like a lot of us are facing like exhaustion. Hey, Manja, we're facing exhaustion at the expense of just being way too much of service to other people, and like friends, communities, possibly lovers, your own job. Like we're not doing enough for ourselves. The way that we can wake up in the morning, just as an example, we can wake up early in the morning and beyond our absolute exhaustion, tell ourselves, no, I have to push, I have to go to work. Ridiculous. We shouldn't be doing that for work. We shouldn't be doing that for the system. We should be doing that for ourselves. You know what I mean? I actually got that lesson during this initiation process that I'm going through. There was a moment where I was starting to feel very exhausted and almost delirious. And I got called out internally because there was one morning where I just didn't feel like waking up early. And I told myself, well, I'm just not going to do it. And then there was a prompt that said, if this were for a shift, if this were work, if this were like for you to earn money, would you have woken up? And I definitely would have woken up. If it was for employment, I definitely would have pushed past my exhaustion, past my delirious feelings, and I would have made sure I showed up to work. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We should only be doing that for our own selves, for possibly our spiritual practices. But we are really it's just too much energy spilling outwards. It's too much. Yeah. I was thinking in that moment of the definition of sovereignty and how if you break it down, it's well, according to what I've tried to research just now before going on the live, it breaks down to the understanding of the self being a super kingdom, or treating the self as a super kingdom, as the kingdom of kingdoms, you know? I think that's what needs to be most important. It needs to be like top before anything. And I'm sure we're all feeling into their vibe of releasing victimhood, understanding that we are in full control, understanding the ways in which we are full control of our lives. I typed here balanced reliance on self and the other, which is what Zinande mentioned, with the other satisfying standards you've placed. So make standards, take control, be strict about the kind of people that you want in your life, be strict about the kind of be strict about the places that you pour into. Be very, very strict about that. And then I typed here the way that even other people's intentions for you can influence your reality, specifically that of your parents, breaking free from their matrix to be sovereign enough to create your own, no longer doing what is expected of you, but moving from your own truth and doing whatever you feel like doing. Release obligations, release pressure. I learned a lot this week, which was a really tough lesson, about how how dangerous a weak sense of self is, and how if you're always spilling out, if you're like I don't know how else to describe this. If you're always spilling out your energy and you're leaving so many gaps in your own energy field, the way that thoughts and assumptions about other people can spill in and fill your energy with things that are not true. So like there's a user name is A Wave Goddess who typed about Pisces placements and their unfortunate predicament of having people always assume that they need help. And I've learned specifically about that, about how my lack of sense of self and how I was always spilling energy into other people. I've gotten a lot of that assumption. I noticed this week how filled up I am with other people's assumptions about how I'm helpless and I'm never going to be able to like fend for myself or take care of myself. And it's pretty unfortunate because the people who made those assumptions about me are people that I poured all of my energy into. So for me to realize that turnaround, to be like, I've been praying so much for you and holding you in such high regard, and this whole time you barely believe in me. You barely believe in my own ability to take care of myself. Mind blowing. So, time to fill all of those gaps, time to really fill ourselves up with exactly who it is that we want to be and believe it. Obviously, knowing that we can be anything, anyone at any time. There's no pressure. We can change our minds. The world is truly our oyster. There's no limits to anything that we can do. So, we can be a certain person for 10 years and then we can change and do something else for the next few years. Although I will say that, again, I'm sure we all know from now on up till 2027, we're doing a lot of cementing, so to speak. Like this is the build up. This is the building of becoming our true selves and of getting to know our truths and getting to know ourselves. Like I think we're going to sit ourselves. We're setting ourselves in some kind of stone, at least for the next 2 years, which is really fun because, yeah, I'm sure we all know how much energy is coming from these next 2 years. It's going to be very fun. Specifically, especially for us because of how aware we are. Like I've said, we've been doing the work. It's going to be a very exciting time. Lest we forget we're doing the work. Oh my God, yeah. This is so cool. Yes, exactly. We're here because the work is evident and we continue to peel away the layers of victimhood and, like you're saying, a weak sense of self. Yes, exactly. We're really showing up. We really are. And I'm so grateful. I'm really, really grateful because, again, like I keep saying, I've barely met anybody tuning into my work, but I promise you the energy that we're putting in together into this future, into the matrix and into the world, and even into through these weekly readings that I do, it's very strengthening for me, and we're really doing incredible work together collectively. You've been praying for them because you were praying them away. Tell me more about that. You've been praying for them because you were praying them away. I think I'm overthinking it so that I'm struggling to understand it, but yeah, that was a pretty heartbreaking realization. But I really appreciate the sovereignty that's coming out of this and out of these experiences of realizing and being very picky about where we put our energy into and how the places we've been pouring into haven't been pouring back into us. I really like the awakening. And can you imagine how intense it must be for people awakening for the first time? Like, I'm sure this is like our 10th awakening in the past few years. There are people who are doing this for the first time. Like I said, there are people who do not understand what I'm talking about. If they tuned into this, they'd be like So confused. Bless them. And bless us all, really. Wonderful. So we're clearly onto something very new here. And I mean, from what I understand, hey, Pearl, from what I understand, I'm pretty sure that it means more or less the same thing in this deck, to say that the discs is our material world, and the 3D, our skin, our meat, the stuff, the energetic accumulation, the way all the atoms are coming together. So I'm receiving here that, I mean, this also kind of looks like a vagina. We're really being birthed into something totally new. I'm also receiving that you said we were pouring into and praying for people that fit into the idea we have business. True, exactly. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I knew I was overthinking. I totally understand. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. Thank you. So yes. I'd like to put, like, I'm trying to decide whether or not I should read, but I think the vibe speaks for itself. The vibe of this card speaks for itself. I'd like to know, if you haven't been meditating, what have you been doing and what's been helping? Outside of I mean, actually, you know what? Tell me what's been helping. Have you been meditating? Have you been praying? Even exercise? But I get the sense that we really need to do things that slow time down. So, like, fast cardio exercise probably wouldn't be very helpful. Have you been going on walks? Have you been spending time in nature? I definitely have not. But I've seen that that is the constant advice, that we need to be in nature more, be outside. This also gives me the energy of creation and creating new things. And I actually did watch a video of Pam Gregory today that spoke about how this energy, this potent energy that we're in the middle of, is going to be very useful for creating new ideas. But I can't think of anything new. I can't think of anything new to create. I only have an idea of, like, new habits that I can incorporate into my daily practices, so meditation and stuff. Something that's also been really useful for me as I've been praying is imagining myself physically hugging my ancestors, or them physically giving me a hug. All of my grandparents have passed on at this point, so I imagine myself giving all of them a hug in the ethers and, like, cuddling them, nuzzling into them. That's been wonderful medicine for me. It's been very helpful. Even the grandparents who died not very I have a grandparent who I don't have a good memory of him alive. He was a little mean. But imagining myself giving him love and him giving me that love back has been so healing for me. It really makes me feel loved. Just wanted to say I'm very tired and empty. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for letting us know. I have no more energy left in me. I even relapsed last week because I couldn't stay strong anymore, but we'll try again this week. Okay, cool. Shout out to your honesty. Admitting to relapse it takes a lot of accountability and bravery, and being able to show up and face yourself. So congratulations at all that you're able to admit that. I am on the brink. I'm on the brink. So I'm very unsurprised to know that you relapsed. And shout out to you for even having the faith to try again, because part of the reason why I don't allow myself to relapse is because I know that once I relapse, I'm not coming back. I'm not going to be sober again. So yeah, no, shout out. You have the willpower of something incredible. You're a machine. And I understand very much the tiredness, the emptiness. I actually did mention in the beginning of this live stream that while I'm feeling very excited, I am feeling very exhausted. I hope you can stay hydrated and tuned into what helps. Although I know that when you're feeling super tired and exhausted, there's nothing to do but to just be tired and exhausted. Let me pull more cards and see what comes. Okay, actually, I'm just going to tap into what one of this is saying, a quick interpretation. I'm pretty sure it's fallen out before, but I think it's always useful to just tap into like what the instructions are from this book. And like I'd asked, please let me know what's been helping for you. What have you been relying on? So this speaks of essence and substance. The interpretation is the ability to manifest ideas into physical reality, someone with their feet firmly on the ground, abundance, physical well-being, sensuality, the love of material reality, the need to base ideas on experience, observation, and experiment, seeing what is. I think this is very Aries coded, especially the part about how the sentence that says a need to base ideas on experience, observation, and experiment. I'm not sure how we can channel it if we're feeling exhausted. So possibly, I don't know, let me pull more. Do you find that you're able to meditate when you're feeling exhausted and empty? Does it help at all? My meditations have also been supplemented with like these binaural beats, these frequency sounds via YouTube. I don't think I'd be able to meditate without them, to be honest. They've been very, very helpful for me. Specifically, there's a specific one that talks about releasing trauma. I think the YouTube channel is called Meditative Mind. Talks about releasing trauma, cell regeneration. There's the 369 meditation video by Tesla. Okay, this is going to be a first. Okay. So I don't think I'll be able to shuffle in this position, but actually I do. Okay, cool. This works. I hope that I can still be heard. How can we channel this energy? How can we like make use of it, especially if we're tired and exhausted? How can we find sustenance in our daily lives? Make use of experimentation. Okay. Page of Discs fell out in reverse with the Four of Cups underneath. I'm thinking gratitude lists. If you've never read The Magic before, this book here is really useful. Well, last I remembered, I haven't worked through it recently, even though I thought I would. I thought I said I would, but I never actually started. But this really helped me out of a bout of depression back when I was in university, so about like six years ago. This really helped me. It involves gratitude lists and lots of gratitude, actually. The whole premise is gratitude and being grateful for different things. It even guides you to be grateful for people who you've had a tiff with, people who you're not good with. There's also the 12 steps in recovery. Haven't worked through those personally either, but I do know people in recovery personally, and I've seen the way that they revisit it. People who have been sober for like 10 years, they still revisit the 12 steps. So if that's something that you feel called to do, then definitely get into it. But yeah. Gratitude, which may be pretty hard to find if you are in a space of exhaustion. But I'm going to read the Page of Discs and see what's being said. So we have the Page of Discs in reverse. Living a second-hand life. Jesus, I knew we'd be dragged. Living a second-hand life. May try to hide behind obsessive behavior. Maybe overweight or have phobias. Often projects problems onto the outside world. May be obsessive about money. Living a second-hand life. May try to hide behind obsessive behavior. This is interesting. I found myself in this energy a lot this week. I just didn't think that it would come out as a problem that's like blocking. I suppose this is a behavior. It's part of the thing that needs to be released. When I came onto this live stream, I tapped very specifically into the image of needing to pull out like tentacles that are deeply attached onto the skin, or like there's a story about a woman who healed via drinking pH water after getting into a car accident and glass shards went into her skin. She drank the pH water, and then as she was drinking it, the shards started to appear on the top layers of her skin so that she would be peeling it. She'd be like picking it out. That's the image that I have, that I had started off this reading. So I think that's part of what this could be feeding into. And I think leading a second-hand life has to do with not having enough faith to make decisions, not having enough faith to make decisions to lead us to happier lives. So not having enough faith to quit a job or to start a new entrepreneur journey, to connect more with people. That's something that I've had a very ridiculous struggle with this week. I've been feeling very much like what Pearl mentioned. I mean, I meditate daily, but without it, I'd probably be incredibly depressed. So these feelings of isolation have really pulled me away from being able to properly connect with my community, make calls, respond to messages, be like active and alive and out there. And I think that that's my pitch in the way that I'm living a secondhand life. I've just really put outside connections, like, yeah, it's as if I'm hiding. So that's possibly something we'd have to deal with. It's just to face all of the things that we are, all of the decisions, face all of the ways that we could be happier. Like imagining the happiest versions of ourselves and the most joyful versions of our lives, and interrogating why it is that it's not being lived right now. What's getting in the way of that? The happiest version of me would be able to make a call to a friend every day. But then I think about the kind of presence that would take and the kind of vulnerability that would take. And when I'm like this, I'm not in the mood to be vulnerable. I'm not in the mood to be open. A lot of layers to face. I'm going to pull another card. And then the wheel. So I suppose this is all work that's just going to do itself. We can trust that time is taking control here. The major transits that are also happening are leading us. the video that I was watching today of Pam's, I can't remember which video it was, but she mentioned how from the 29th of March to the 7th of April, there's a lot of potent energy, almost like a portal is busted wide open. And I think that's what this has to do with. Yeah. I like how in this card as well, the wheel is turning and there are people who seem to who are just part of it, which I think points to us. We're part of the bigger picture. And while we may not always understand what's happening, we can trust that something is happening. And we can rely on that. We can rely on the truth of our intentions. We can get that sorted out. We possibly need to actually write our intentions, our true intentions. If I have an intention to be more open in life, then I have to stop being scared of vulnerability, right? I have to actually carry my intentions out and actually make a call to a friend every day. Ugh. Yeah, but vulnerability and all of these things that we're trying to uncover about ourselves is very difficult. And it's especially difficult when you're looking at a world where there are people who are getting away with not needing to do that, not needing to face themselves at all. I think the wheel really pulls together, especially with these two cards together like this. These two cards together. I think the wheel really encapsulates what we're going to be facing this week in terms of what's going to unfold, that there are much greater forces at play. And we should let the greater forces do their thing. Allow the greater forces to do their thing so that we can start living a first-hand life and not a second-hand life. Like, geez, we definitely deserve better than a second-hand life. We definitely deserve that. We deserve to stop thinking about money, stop worrying about money and worrying about needing to control the material world and just let go, have fun. We need to have more fun in life. Yeah, we need to be having more fun in life. We need to be trusting more, but I think that message comes up literally every week. And I'm sure, again, like this is not the first time I'm reading it, but I like to just keep us a new cycle of life, change, the opportunity to alter your perceptions and thus improve your life, feeling part of the cosmic cycle, rewriting the past, allowing a sense of freedom in how you could be, right? The workings of fate or karma, good fortune. So allowing a sense of freedom in what could be, I think that's very important. Yeah, I think we're not living free enough. We're not living free enough. We're not making freer decisions. We need to be having more fun, laughing more, connecting with people more. I'm really not used to this, but I'm feeling the message of like reaching out to people more often when you're feeling sad and isolated. Do the opposite of that and actually make a call to someone. Connect. Be honest to say, I'm not feeling really good today. And I'm trying something different by making a call and reaching out and being honest about the way that I feel, I don't know how I'm going to embody this in my life because I really hate doing that. I hate doing that so much. But I think that the freedom of connection and just connecting more in general, being more free, I think that's going to come either way, especially with this messaging coming through the wheel, because there are other cards that represent a need for freedom, a new cycle of life. There are other cards that bring this message about. But it came out through the wheel, which I think points to a very cosmic change, something that is beyond us, something that we can totally surrender to. So that if you're feeling in a hopeless state or you're exhausted, trust that things will sort themselves out this week, and know that we're learning the lesson of needing to understand that we deserve better. We deserve much better. It's interesting that there are so many like images of circles and decorated circles. We're reaching a level of completeness that I think is going to be very special, and we'll be able to recognize the specialness, the sentiment. It'll be sentimental, the whole completion, the bigger picture. That no, not a bigger. Well, yes, a bigger picture, but more like just. I think we'll be feeling more whole. This morning, I pulled the 10 of Cups, which also speaks of like a wholeness and a completion. A uniting. Yeah, I'm getting that there'll be more moments, more opportunities to be present, even in the exhaustion and the sadness. I don't know if you feel the same way. Hi. I don't know if this is something that you can tune into, but I feel very, something about the sadness feels easier to process, the sadness and the exhaustion. Something about it feels easier to process when I'm just present. When I exercise presence and I just sit in it and I breathe in it, something about it feels better. Hi, welcome. I hope you're doing well as well. Thank you. Could living a secondhand life also speak to having to still release control? Yes, I get the sense that there's frustration in that area. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. I think I mentioned that actually, that we really need more freedom. But I'm not clear on like, because it's a message that we tune into every week, right? And if anybody understands how it is that we need to surrender more, like I'm pretty sure we get it. So I guess there are just more ways that we're just being controlling. Hence the wheel speaking to taking care of sorting out those problem areas. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it feels trivial at this point because, like I said, we've read this so many times. Like, how many times can the universe repeat one message? Surrender, surrender, be free, be free. Like, what do you want? What do you want? What more can we do? What more surrendering can we do? It's on top. Excuse me.
Oh,
He's sleeping. Are you looking for your phone? Okay. Can you see if Nelson and I will be in a relationship for the next 2 months? You're gonna have to DM me about that. Can you please reach out to me via Instagram? I'm Tandiola. You can DM me, and then we can talk about like personal readings and stuff. This is very collective right now. But you can send me a message and I'll be more than happy to take it from there. Okay, so we have strength. We've got a lot of shadow work to do. Yeah. Okay, I see. All right, so I guess this is all just shadow work stuff. And needing to find our freedom, find our points of freedom. It's all shadow work. So sitting with the exhaustion, like I said, sitting with the emptiness, sitting with the tiredness, meditating, and being brave, knowing that this too shall pass. None of these things ever last forever. It's not like we're going to be ever depressed, ever empty, ever sad. Something will eventually come, although I will say that this week I've been feeling very tired with the process of needing to accept the fact that like change eventually comes. I've been feeling really exhausted waiting for that change. But the answers will come to us. This is a step-by-step process, layers being uncovered, and each layer has its own timing. It's like these layers sit with like literal timers. attached to them, and they count down 3, 2, 1, tick, and then it opens, and they'll open by themselves. We can have faith in that, I suppose. And I will pull out one more card just as a final, because we've reached our hour. And yeah, then we continue on bravely with our lives, with our week. Okay. All right, I'll take these because they were all going to fall out anyway. This card also speaks, Knight of Swords is underneath. I'll say what came out here, but Knight of Swords underneath speaks of someone scared, someone guarded, extremely guarded because of the fear. So yeah, we have a bit of fear work to do. I think part of our shadow work is needing to be brave. And our bravery is sourced from knowing that we are protected, knowing that we are guided and loved, and knowing that everything has its specific time, divine timing. So I guess we should be affirming that as well, that everything will happen in divine time and will obviously unfold as it should with the Four of Rods. We have the Four of Rods, the Page of Cups, and the Chariot. So we are coming to some kind of, it's all inner work, emotional work, that I think ties to what I mentioned last week about how our outer worlds need to start very specifically reflecting our inner worlds, like as within, so without, very specifically, very particularly. So we have a lot of as within work to do still, but there is a coming home to that. This card speaks of an inner sanctuary. It points to the end of a long journey. Imagine this being a home that you return to after war, and this being, us on the Chariot returning home after war. We're coming back with new views of ourselves, new perceptions of the magic that we hold, new perceptions of our power, stepping into our autonomy in new ways. We hold a lot of magic and a lot of potential within us that we are going to realize this week. We're going to ride the lion, and it's all going to happen as it should. It will happen as it should. So there's nothing more that needs to be done other than what you're doing, other than what you feel is right to do for you. But you can also trust that. I think this is the week where I like to repeat. There's an image that I think I've mentioned, not obviously, but I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this in previous readings about how we are able to sit, if we really wanted to, we could sit in the middle of the field and just in the middle of any field and just meditate, and things we want will come to us. Almost like the conch shell episode of SpongeBob, but the conch being our intuition and our gut. I think that this is the week where we can do that. We can practice that idea of we don't have to work too hard. Nothing will come hard to us. Everything, our abundance is ours. It's really just a matter of timing and letting life unfold. There's a bigger picture we need to surrender to. We are part of it. We're part of a great big machine. And we can have faith that everything's playing out as it should. So, yeah. Thank you for being present. I am looking forward to our growth, because there's clearly going to be a lot of it this week, a lot of releasing, shedding, and it's going to end beautifully, as every week does. We're really being led into something very stunning. And I hope that above all else, beyond the sadness, which will definitely be felt, we'll be feeling a lot of raw emotion. I think this week will be a lot of raw emotion. I trust that we'll be able to process it well, and we will come to a very beautiful return of our inner truths, which are always with us. We can have faith in that. So, yeah. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful week.